Summer tried not to notice the fire in his onyx eyes, or the way his wranglers tugged and pulled against his extremely firm ass with each step he took, and how tight that white T-shirt was pulled against the lean muscles of his chest and torso. "You're married to that guy?"
Was married. He's my ex. Why'd you stop me from hitting him? He deserves it, believe me.
Irritation and thankfulness mixed in a confusing storm in the pit of her empty stomach. "No doubt, sugar, but I have a policy. Never give Brent Preston anything he wants. He was begging you to hit him. That can't be good." The thankfulness won out over her irritation for the moment. Summer hated to admit he was right. Hitting Brent could have ended in disaster. Not that she couldn't take his little pansy ass, but there was far too much at stake for her to give in to her temper now. "Here." Austin opened the tailgate of his truck, a gorgeous luxury Silverado that looked brand new. He'd been winning all season. She was certain his bank accounts were choking with the bonuses he'd received. And just like every other rodeo cowboy, he was going to spend it all before he made it to the next town. They were all so damn certain they had a pot full of gold waiting at the end of every line. It was going to suck when he figured out that wasn't how life worked. Summer watched Austin as he dug into the toolbox of the truck and located a bottle of whiskey. He patted the gate, urging her to join him. Summer knew she should leave, not that she really had anywhere to go.
I haven't had anything to eat.
Her half-whispered confession dissipated in the humid Wyoming air. She wasn't getting drunk with some guy she only knew because he'd been lighting up the rodeo circuit scoreboards all season long. There was no food in her system to buffer the effects of whiskey.
And I'm not some buckle bunny that's going to go with you back to your room just because you were nice to her and gave her a drink.
No, you're sure as hell not a buckle bunny. Not by a long shot. So why don't you tell me who you are? I'm not trying to get you drunk. I'm not an asshole. I just thought this might help us both simmer down. He lifted the whiskey bottle he still hadn't opened. "Some chick stomped on my foot and it hurts like a bitch." Laughing in spite of herself, Summer hopped up on the tailgate.
I guess I didn't answer that last question. Yes, I'm Summer Sanchez, or I used to be, and you're the one that wouldn't let me go.
Not going to apologize for that, but I will say I was sorry to hear about your father's passing. I followed his career since I was just a little kid. I saw you ride in Burwell a couple years ago. You put on an impressive show. You still barrel racing?" Summer felt her own jaw tighten. Guy sure asked a lot of questions. If she hadn't owed him so much, she'd have refused to answer any of them. As it stood, he had effectively just saved her life, so she drew a deep breath and reached for the whiskey bottle. After downing a swallow, she shook her head.
No, I'm not racing anymore. And thanks for what you said about my father. I didn't really know him that well, and when I did know him, he was an asshole.
She shrugged. And there it was, the concern and the sympathy she hated displayed in his gorgeous eyes fringed by deep black eyelashes that slowly blinked in the understanding that her dad may have been Mitchum Sanchez, rodeo king, greatest bareback bronc rider in the U.S., but he wasn't much of a father. "I'm sorry," Austin offered her.
Not your fault.
She took another slight sip of the whiskey, still careful not to drink too much. "Hey, I'm sick to death of this bar and honestly this entire town. Want to go see if we can find a steakhouse? Riding makes me hungry, so I'm starved. You just said you hadn't eaten." Glancing around, Summer weighed her options. Austin Camden had the reputation of being a nice guy, a little cocky, but what bull rider wasn't? She studied him. Yeah, he was a nice guy, but there was a definite edge in his gaze. Intensity broadcast from every chiseled plane of his body. He radiated masculinity and sex appeal. Sure, she'd be safe enough with him, and she was starving, but her heart might not survive. He was far too tempting, and it had been so long. They wouldn't be out too long. She could go by Brant's room to check on everything when they got back. Brant would probably be out all night long, asshole that he was. Her stomach answered before she could accept the invite. An embarrassingly loud growl rolled in her gut. Laughing at her outright, Austin hopped off the tailgate. "Come on, just dinner. I'm not asking for anything more than that. Let's get away from Brant and all the other shit going on in there." He gestured back to the bar.
Yeah, okay, but just dinner.